Hey guys, it's Tyler, this time with another Librascope for Starfarer. Now, the heck is Starfarer, you might ask? Well, that's a good question, just calm down. Starfarer is a top-down 2D space shooter slash space exploration kind of game by Fractal Softworks. Now, as you can see up here, it's version 0.54, which means it is still in development. This game is following the sort of more common development role of you pay before it's finished, you get the game for a cheaper price. So right now you can just head on over to Fractal Softworks site and buy this game, and you get in and you get all of the version updates for free, similar to something like Minecraft. A lot of indies are doing this kind of development strategy recently, and well, I mean, I think it's a pretty good idea. It helps fund the game and get people interested. Now, as you can see up here, this says the Orquan Masters. That's because this game has a really good modding scene already. The Orquan Masters is a mod for this game that I have installed, as well as Umaz's Corvus, which adds a whole bunch of stuff. But we'll get onto that later. For now, I'd like to say that this game has a really good model. That being that they're allowing modding so early on. The official site, the forums, has a modding subforum. Each update contains more options for modders, and they're being really cool about it, and I like that. That's really heartening to see in today's world of less mods, more DLC. So it's nice to see this. So, let's go ahead and get into the game. We're going to continue my game already in progress, as it jitters a little bit. Now, this is the campaign. As you can see, this is my fleet. It is wondrous and beautiful. Only 2 ships right now. You can get a lot of ships, and these are destroyer class ships, which is not the biggest. There are 2 classes even larger, and ships in this game get very large indeed. So, this is part of the newest update. This allows you to customize your character. This is sort of a skill point system. As you win battles, you will get aptitude points to spend in these and skill points to spend in these. Now, the way this works is you have to have a certain level in each of these aptitudes to have that same level in the skills. So in other words, you see this, I have 7 ranks in damage control. To get to that, I have had to put in 7 points into combat. This is kind of like strength, intelligence, dexterity, that kind of system, just applied to a commander in space setting. So, yeah. On level 14. And obviously it's not finished. There are going to be many more skills, and there's nothing for industry right now, so that's completely pointless to take. However, you can see that with this, at rank 5, you get increased stress tolerances, and as you rank up, it isn't just sort of boring passives. It's pretty cool already. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to be done with it, but the more points you put into it, you start to get better stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty neat. Now, you can tell that it's pretty unfinished, but this is version 0.54. Now, this game is still in development very openly. In fact, the latest version was just released November 23rd. So, they're obviously still working on this. There are sometimes pass a few months, maybe a month and a half before a new release, but they are working on it, and it's by no means, you know, dead in the water or anything. It's got plenty of forum action, plenty of development. The blog on the Fractal Softworks site is updated consistently, giving you information on what they're working on for the next update and so on. So, in the campaign, what you do right now is you just sort of explore around this system and fight things. Since it is still in development, very much unfinished, there's not a huge like story or anything like that yet, but the way it generally works is you're going to be flying around space, because that's fun, and finding other fleets to fight. Now, the fleets have a faction system, meaning that not all of the factions represented in different colors here. It kind of looks like a rainbow threw up on a neon sign factory. They have a, what's the word I'm looking for? Dang it. A reputation system. So the pirates, which are in the dark red there, or bright red, they are hostile to you from the very beginning, whereas the hegemony, let's say, which is the orange, aren't hostile to you from the beginning. Now, if you fight them, they will become hostile, so you have to sort of choose your relations, and there are stations with which you will be buying different ships, weapons, supplies, and all that, and obviously you want the really good equipment, the stations of the ships that you want to use, you want them to be friendly to you, so you can get to them. Now this is a hegemony station right here, and this is an Interstellar Federation fleet, as well as an IntFed station. Now, as you can see, I'm neutral to these guys, which is essentially friendly. There is no friendly per se right now. It just sort of works that way. That means they won't actively attack me, I can pass right through their fleet, and they won't engage me. Now, let's get into a battle. As you can see, all of these other fleets are battling each other, so I'm looking for a fleet small enough that I can take. These are big capital ships. There's no way I can take those on. They will utterly destroy me, so we're not going to do that. I'd like to keep the Interstellar Federation friendly with me, so we're not going to fight those guys either. Let's see here. There are plenty of fleets over this way. I'd like to fight some pirates, maybe. I should be able to take those guys. There's a lot of ship variety in this game, especially with mods, but even without mods, this game is completely playable. It's a lot of fun. Let's engage these guys. As you can see, they have what looks to be a destroyer or frigate-sized ship and 3 different fighter wings. So we're going to engage these guys. Now here you can see I have the Hammerhead class destroyer, and as my flagship, which means the one I control directly, I have the Warlock class phase destroyer. And they each have different systems, all these different stats and weapons, and you customize the weapons to your liking. You buy these ships usually as hulls, which are weaponless, and then you buy the weapons that fit in the slots. I'll show you more of that later. So we're going to be fighting this Buffalo Mark II class destroyer. Now I should be able to utterly destroy this thing because it has no defense. It has no shields. It can't block my attacks. These heavy fighters are something to be afraid of, and these bombers are as well, but I should be able to pretty well take care of them, I'm thinking, so let's move in. This is a small battle, which means that I shouldn't have to use this, but this is a pretty cool feature. This is a sort of RTS-like overlay, where you can order around your individual ships that you aren't controlling directly, because you can only control one at a time, to do separate things. Right now this is a small battle, so all of the features of the battle aren't being displayed, but in larger battles, as your fleets get larger, you'll see capture points and things on the map, like nav buoys and command posts and things like that, which will give you bonuses to capture them. It's a capture point style system. You have these fleet points, which you can call reinforcements with if you have a larger fleet, so you don't necessarily have all of your ships on the field at one time. And you also have command points, which are sort of orders. They are expended with each order you give your ships, so you can't just continually order all of them around however you want. You have to be a little tactical about it. So let's begin. I've got some good weapon groups here. I'm going to start off with these Vortex Launchers, which are missiles. These should help me... Actually, no proximity charges. These should help me take care of these fighters, because it's sort of like flak. As you can see, they have pretty large explosion. Now, this ship I'm using doesn't have a shield. It has this, which is a sort of phase cloak. It turns you slightly invisible, but it makes you intangible so that things don't hit you. It's better than a shield, in my opinion, but you can't fire any weapons while you're phased. So, unlike a shield, you have to stop firing in order to use it. Now, let's switch to my main weapon, which is a really heavy weapon, and get going. We're going to zero in on this destroyer here as I bump into my own ship, because that's what you're supposed to do. We're going to see if we can zero in on him. I'm much faster than he is on this ship, so I should be able to catch him. Boom! And that's it for that battle. That was easy. Different systems will take damage, so that if say your engines are fired upon, you will have a flame out if they take enough damage, which means that your engines will be disabled and you can't navigate. You see this flux system right here? Flux is like an energy system. As you use weapons, abilities, shields, they generate flux. When your flux gets maxed out, you have an overload and you're basically a sitting duck until it decreases, so you have to watch your flux levels. But high flux gives energy weapons bonus damage, so it's a bit of a tug of war between having a lot of flux to be a heavy hitter and not having so much to where you won't be instantly overloaded whenever you get hit. Now, we won that battle. All of these guys retreated after we killed their father because they're a bunch of pansies. I can board this if I want to, which I think I'll do. I have Marines. Marines are used to board ships, but they are often lost sort of fighting to get control of the ship. So we're going to try it, and we lost 4 Marines, but we got it. So this ship is now mine. As you see, it's part of my fleet now after I do this. Got some loot. In this case, is just fuel. But, whoa, let's get away from that. Alright, so I gained experience from finishing that, and now I have an extra ship. It's going to be repaired. Repairing takes time and cargo. These supplies, these are very important. You need these to repair ships and basically to live. If you have no supplies, your ships can't get repaired, and you'll have a risk of an accident, which can be various things. But your ships can actually be lost from that, so you've got to be careful. As you can see, my fleet size is actually over the limit right now because I don't have any larger ships to increase my fleet points. Under here, the technology path, will increase your fleet points and things like that. Or actually, no, it's leadership. My bad. So, if I want bigger fleets, I have to put some points into this. What I'm going to do, since I don't actually want to use that ship, and I could actually take those guys, I think. Here, we're going to quick save, because we are somewhat afraid, and attack. So let's go for another battle. Now, the Buffalo class that I captured is not in the battle, because I don't have enough men to man it, so it can't be piloted. That's fine, because it's very damaged, and I don't actually want to use it for battle. I want to sell it for money, which we'll do after this, if we survive. So let's engage. See if we can blow these guys up. Now, as you can tell, the combat it's not slow, but it's kind of, there's a certain elegance to it. It actually reminds me of Star Trek in the way that it's more like a naval type of combat. It's slow and deliberate, and I really like that. I think it's pretty cool. And we're gonna get swarmed by these guys if we're not careful. They can fire lots of missiles very quickly. This carrier is basically a missile support carrier, so we've got to be very careful. As you can see, as I'm cloaked, my flux is getting higher, so I can't just stay cloaked forever. I will eventually overload, and then I won't be able to fire any weapons. So that's a problem. These guys are just not letting up. We're going to switch to the heavy pulsar and see if we can take them down. My friend has taken out the Lasher class over there. The heavy pulsar beam generates a lot of flux on use, so I've got to be careful, but it's well worth it to take care of that. It's actually a pretty good looking game. There's a lot of detail in this game. It's sort of in the vein of something like Space Pirates and Zombies, only there's more to it. Space Pirates and Zombies is a very good game. Indeed, I like that game quite a bit, but it's more of an arcadey experience, whereas this, there's more strategy to it. It definitely appeals to a little more of a hardcore demographic, which is always good. It looks like these ships up here might be trying to escape. We don't want to allow that. You obviously get more loot and things from destroying the ships and not just letting them escape. So we're going to try and overload their shields. There we go. And now switch to the heavy pulsar and slam them with it while they're overloaded and can't bring up their shields. So this thing is going down. One more shot. There we go. The controls are really intuitive. It works very well. The flight model, I suppose you could say, is, you have inertia. You are in space, so even when you're not using your thrusters, you continue to move. You can turn all around, and then you will keep your momentum. I suppose that's like Newtonian physics. These guys are getting very annoying. I'm going to fire some missiles at them and see if we can take them out. Unfortunately, these Vortex missiles are quite slow. These fighters might be able to escape. That's the nice thing about having these proximity launchers, is that it's sort of like a flat cannon, that it explodes when they're in proximity to the fighters and they don't need to contact them directly because they're quite small targets. We may be able to catch up, but it's not looking super likely. I also have a ship system in the form of this, Energize. This, for a small time, will make my energy weapons do a lot more damage. Oh, looks like I can get this. Let's board it. Oh yeah, we've got plenty of stuff to sell now. So we're gonna get some supplies, some fuel, some missiles, and some turrets from destroying them. But as you can see right now, our accident risk is high because my fleet points are way too low to support all of these ships. Now, as much as I really want to keep them, I'm thinking I'm going to have to let one of them go, because I'm afraid that I won't be able to make it to the nearest trading post without having an accident. So we're going to get rid of one. Now, they're both the same value, so we're just going to get rid of the one worth the most fleet points. So this one is 9, and this one is 9. Well, crap. We're just going to get rid of this. So I should be able to scuttle this. It gives me some supplies for doing that, but it destroys it. Now I have no accident risk because my fleet points are not over the maximum to the amount of danger. So we're going to get out of that. And now, oh, there's this, oh, never mind. So we're going to find a trading post now, so we don't run into that problem again. There is one over here that is the listening post for a faction I don't remember. Spothy, okay. So we're going to head into here. Here's the buying system. Trade, I'm going to give them fuel because there's no use for fuel at this version of the game. I'll explain why in a minute. Give them all of these turrets, and confirm. Now, I would repair this to make it worth more, but I'm not really worried about that right now, so I'm just going to sell it as is and get some more credits for it. I've got 104,000 credits, which is actually pretty good. So as you can see, there are plenty of different kinds of ships that I can buy. Frigates are generally what you'll start out with, and fighters are good supplementary ships. I actually need some. Now, fighters you can't control directly. Any other kind of ship you can control directly. You can choose which one by designating it as your flagship, which is what this star means. If I wanted to, I could designate this as my flagship, and then this would be AI controlled, and I would use this one. It doesn't matter, it's just sort of preference. Now, there are destroyers, which are what these are, so these are sort of mid-size. They fill lots of different roles, depending on what types of weapon mounts they have. Cruisers are a lot larger. Now, it's hard to tell just from these pictures, but these ships are actually pretty big, and I kind of want this. Orichalcum Lost, that's kind of a cool name. It's a Harpy class. Medium energy mount, medium missile mount, yeah, that seems like a lot of fun. And then there are capital ships. These things are huge. They're very slow and lumbering and obviously very expensive. I do not have the fleet points to get stuff like that, or the crew, or the money, so that's gonna have to wait. So for right now, we're just going to get out of here. Now there is this. This is how you customize your ships. This is the refitting system. As you can see, I can change each of the weapons individually. All of these mounts can fit different types of weapons on them. So this is a universal mount, meaning it can fit energy, missile, and ballistic type weapons, as long as they're of the small size. They're small, medium, and large. You can also change the weapon groups, which is how they're grouped up and the numbers you press to arm them. You can even make some of them auto-fire, which is good if you have flak turrets and point defense weapons for destroying fighters and missiles that get close to you and things like that, because you're not going to want stuff like that swarming around you if you have to manually take yourself out of the fight to defend against them. So you will have small turrets and autocannons and things on auto-fire so that when these threats get close to you, they'll be targeted. You won't have to worry about it. You can change the capacity and the venting rate of your flux, which I have a lot of vents because this ship uses a lot of energy weapons. So I want that flux to go away very quickly, as fast as it builds up, so I don't run the risk of overloading very easily. There are also hull modifications that give you different passive bonuses. As you can see, this one gives me faster shield coverage, which doesn't matter because this ship doesn't use shields. Blast doors is nice. It gives you more hull integrity, so when you get hit under your shields or whatever defense you have, then your ship will last a bit longer because of this. Now, I have these the way I want them right now, but I really could actually use some fighters because, as you can see, I have hangar space available, but I don't have any fighters. Now, never underestimate fighters. They may not be huge, but they can really get some stuff going. I'd actually like to get these because the graviton inversion device, which is a pretty awesome name, is a very powerful weapon. They're, you know, as you can see, they're bombers. So these would be nice to have, but I don't know. Okay, yeah, the fleet points don't go over the limit enough to put me in any risk. But that does mean I won't be able to get another ship. Scourge Assault. You know what? We're just gonna do it. We're doing it. Screw it. Alright, yeah. We can afford it. This does not need any crew, so if you don't have enough crew, you will need to buy more personnel. The personnel have various rankings. As you can see here, there are green ones, which are new. Obviously, there are regular, which are just your standard crew. There are veteran and elite crew, which cost a lot, and as you fight and complete in battles, your crew that you actually possess will sort of level up. And as you can see, there's actually a 20% decrease in the damage taken by your ship, and you will speed up a little bit more by 10 extra percent when your ship is manned by these elite crew. Also, for those auto-firing weapons, the turrets will be more accurate at actually tracking, which is very important. We're going to blow the crap out of these guys really quick, because there's no way they can defend against us. That kind of reminds me of a B-2 Spirit. Looks like a stealth bomber. But in space, so it's instantly cooler. That's an asteroid. We should probably not hit that. Whoops. Oh well. Gonna try and blow up this lasher and not get bombarded by missiles. Oh, it's already overloaded. Wow. Yeah. This thing may be colossally overpowered. I'm not sure. But shh, don't tell. Don't tell anyone. Doesn't matter. It's fine. Well. Oh yeah, we've got this. There's no way. No way they can defend against all this. Oh, they're trying to run. How cute. Wow. Well, it looks like our bomber over here is trying to go for some meat, but I don't think we're going to be able to catch that one. It might get away. Oh, lucky. Yeah, they retreated. That's okay. 2 out of 3, rather. Yep, get some money, some experience, and some stuff to sell. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this. If you're interested, I will put a link in the description to get to their site. And one more thing, there are missions. These are sort of preset missions that you can do. You'll have a flagship that you will control, as well as other ships and your enemies. These are just sort of like large battles, so if you want to begin with all of these big crazy ships and fleet compositions and stuff, you can try out these missions from the very beginning. All of these are unlocked. You don't have to do anything to get these. That way you can experience some huge battles without having to play the campaign for hours and hours if you're not into that. So yeah, as you can see, there's actually a lot of content. Look at that thing, jeez. Yeah, lots of content here, lots of fun to be had. It's clearly worth a try if you like these kinds of games, so that'll do it. See you next time, guys.